Hey you guys, I wanted to create this video to honor the request of my subscriber that lives in Ghana. He brought some things to my attention that I believe highly warrants a video discussion on it, and over the course of this video, I am going to talk about some of his research, articles, and firsthand experience that he has detailed. But before I give any commentary about what's happening in Ghana, I do want to briefly talk about how when it comes to oppression, it's something that is omnipresent. I'm not sure if any of you recall, but in some of my videos, I talk about how there is a system that encompasses elements of subjugation globally, meaning that it is inescapable. In one way or another, Black people inevitably will face some obstacles that inhibits their ability to naturally sustain resources for themselves due to some external and environmental factors. And what's even more debilitating about this circumstance is the fact that the diaspora is exceptionally divided to where we cannot unite to help our people out in terms of the crises that each of our factions are subject to. Also, to add to this, I think from our own perspectives, it's so easy for us to perceive each of our predicaments as novice or simple to resolve the strife that's responsible for our suffering. And it's simple to judge one's livelihood when you look from the outside in. However, the day-to-day lifestyle of that person is not quite that simple. I think one thing that may potentially help us to gain some leverage is by recognizing that the Black collective across all cultures face a common struggle, which is the tyranny and cruel mistreatment by one or more groups of elite classes. I call them elite regarding their social status, but in every other area of their existence, these classes of people are inferior. The last thing any of us should be doing is passing judgment towards the level of hardships we all face, because despondency of any magnitude is something that we have to understand as a problem. And I also want to say this before I get into what my subscriber has sent to me. We all are familiar with the contention that exists between Africans and African Americans. I am someone that chooses to extend an olive branch of love and kindness to our people because I know that their vision of us may stem from misinformation and possibly a lack of understanding. We all know that Western civilization is a master of deception, and with their vile, wicked media has the ability to perceive different groups of people as discourteous, savage, and impoverished to the point where crime rates are rampant as a result of purposeful suppression of resources. All of what I just said is going to play a role in the story of my subscriber and some of the research he sent to me, and because of the conditions concurrently taking place in Ghana, I will withhold the identity of my subscriber for his safety and protection. Now, for those who are unaware, Ghana is currently under the control of China via the extortion of crucial reserves, minerals, and other supplies that could help Ghana thrive and flourish. But because of the presence of this other country and the corruption of African leaders, it causes destruction and cataclysm for the people who are trying to make a living. And I also want to point something out to you guys. For African Americans, this should sound familiar to us. There are Black people who have occupied positions of prestige here. However, after their rule, we noticed that the conditions of our community really haven't improved any. We still have our same systemic issues. The housing sector is still highly discriminatory. We still experience police brutality at the same rates with no variation. Something else that I find to be ironic as well is that Asians have had a crime bill passed here, yet we still have no legislation passed in our favor. But let them go through one massacre here and suddenly this selective outrage happens. And it's asinine that we have to go through several centuries only to get a symbolic gesture such as Juneteenth being recognized as a federal holiday, which everyone benefits from. So it really is more of a disservice to Black people in hindsight. I could go on a whole video about how Asians are complicit in subjugation, just the same as the larger society, but I'm going to put the link in the description box if you want to watch the video about why I don't have sympathy for them when they face life challenges and obstacles. That's going to be a recurring theme for this video. I will highlight eerie parallels and similarities that we share with our brothers and sisters in Africa. But before I talk about some of the equivalencies we share, I want to tell a story about my subscriber that he told me, and this will tie in with someone of Indian descent. So there is a bit of a cultural barrier, but I tried to translate it the best way that I could. He told me that one night he was working on guard duty and his responsibility was to watch over an area for a specified amount of time. However, there were a group of people that locked the security room, which was my subscriber's means of protection if something went awry, and he had to secure the perimeter and was not allowed to go inside the security room. And even worse was the gates that surrounded this area were locked, and he described the feeling as being incarcerated or imprisoned. And these people will take the keys with them and lock the gate until the morning. Now, when you guys hear that story, you would probably think, am I working a job or am I in some modern form of chattel slavery? And this is why my subscriber wanted me to make a video about this, because the Black people in Ghana are in a state of suppression where they work excessively hard and are severely underpaid while being ordered around by other groups of people not native to the land. And to make matters worse, China has come in and set up shop everywhere with their businesses, and we all are well aware that corporations and businesses are what controls a country's infrastructure and laws. It brings me to the next perilous situation in Ghana. The subscriber sent me an article where a woman from China by the name of Helen Huan was arrested for illegal and suspicious activity. Helen had acquired substantial amounts of rosewood, which for those who are unfamiliar, it's wood from trees, but the quality of it is exquisite, so it's extremely expensive if you're in possession of some. Her excuse for why she had all of this rosewood was because she apparently was the owner of it and claimed to be transporting it to some location. However, it did not pass the required inspections, and she also didn't have a passport, nor was she able to show any proof that she had permission to even be in Ghana. And you guys know that oh so familiar disappointment that African Americans are used to? Helen was released because she was placed on inquiry bail. So she didn't face any type of prosecution for this. She was deported and basically got off with this without facing any kind of reprimand. And I believe the reason for this is because of China's influence in Ghana and the presence of these corporations and businesses controlling Ghanaian laws and legislation. But I think what we also need to look at is the current president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. I did some research on this man and found out that he is tied to a host of different scandals and controversies, and it may not speak for the issues Ghana has been facing, because the leaders of several African countries have all had their fair share of depravity, but it certainly does speak volumes about why there doesn't appear to be any signs of improvement concerning Ghana's government acting accordingly in the interests of its people. But the reason why I brought up the president of Ghana is because it reinforces a common issue that African Americans face here. When we decide to vote for people to occupy prominent positions of influence or power, we vote for people because they're Black or because he or she is the lesser of two evils, and that represents the naivete we have when it comes to our understanding of politics. And it just goes to show more of the same as it pertains to our perpetual regression for systemic oppression. Now, I can't speak for the Black people in Ghana when it comes to this, but if this were to be true over there, then it's just another commonality we share. And I understand that we follow traditions that potentially are nothing more than generational pathologies that remain everlasting without the slightest question as to why we follow them. Some may say that it's a result of the older generation passing down what they've been taught. However, I am willing to bet that the source of where it originated from is from a tyrannical, malevolent group of people with malicious intentions. Having faith in a bipartisan system or a religious system that for several centuries have produced no tangible results for our people, but because we like the ideology of hope, it soothes and maintains our complacency to continue following these systems despite the counterproductivity it creates. The harsh and brutal environment that the Black people in Ghana are subject to leaves me concerned from a perspective of foresight. I foresee that the conditions will be so intense that the Black people there will be forced out of their country in a similar way to how the Moors were expelled from Spain, or how Black people had to go through migratory patterns during the Jim Crow era in order to survive. My only question to us is, when will we pay attention to history so that we can stop repeating it? Maybe the issue is that we don't see the imminent danger that looms around the corner, or we believe that we may have some type of allyship amongst people who don't immediately appear to be a threat. Either way, our amiable nature may be our downfall. And I wanted to understand my subscriber's thoughts of African Americans from his observation of how we interact. And he told me that he sees us as good people, but also understands that other Africans don't see us in the same way he sees us. From what I told you guys earlier, this could be related to how media depictions and portrayals paint African Americans. And the same thing with us. Whenever we see commercials or advertisements about Africa, the media and entertainment industry try to make it look deprived, droughts are everywhere, and the people are devoid of healthcare, so they're malnourished or on the brink of starvation. But we know this may be a fraction of the population, not the entire continent itself. Now, am I saying that our brothers and sisters there don't face these issues? Of course not. I'm sure, just like us, they probably try to figure out how am I going to make it from paycheck to paycheck, and it isn't easy. But we are strong survivors because we all are our ancestors who had to endure arduous challenges but still remained intact. Now, from what he told me about African American migration to Ghana, he did confirm that Ghana has an initiative to help Black Americans identify opportunities for success. So I am assuming if you're an entrepreneur or someone who is business savvy, you will have success there. And he was even generous enough to show me a Black man from America who moved to Ghana and has amazing success, and even detailed success stories of other Black people from America if they are curious about making the move. If you guys have Instagram, please check out Mr. Tim Swain. I think he does a great job at chronicling his life story and how other African Americans can do the same thing. The last thing that my subscriber told me was that he was considering a career in the US military, and I initially advised against it. However, from his positioning, I understood the reason and I was sympathetic for why he wanted to pursue this path, given that his current occupation leaves him extremely financially deficient and he has trouble making ends meet. It touched my heart deeply that he was faced with such a compromising scenario, but when you guys think about it, imperialism and capitalism paired with exploitation reign supreme, and it's what fuels the system for subjugation. From the politician to the laws, it's debasing from every direction, and we have to be strategic in how we survive in this world. Overall, I want to close this out by saying that while we cannot escape this oppression, it is something we have to deal with head on. And the way that we do that is by understanding each other and realizing that our autocracy bears similarities to other Black people across all cultures. I think if we also work on strengthening our foresight and fathom that every situation has an outcome, then it may assist with the way we make decisions in our everyday lives and in other areas. But until we refine the way we maneuver in this society, it will be impossible for progression to take place, and we will permanently stunt our own growth. Let me know your thoughts on China extorting Ghana's resources like gold, forest, cocoa, and other vital minerals that could really help Ghana become prosperous and thrive. And shout out to my subscriber. Thank you so much for telling me your story. It feels good to know I have subscribers from almost all over the world finding their way to my channel. I might not be able to change the world, but I just want to at least make us start to think and wake up to see that this world has it out for us. We have no real allies, no matter the amount of cognitive dissonance some of us have that say otherwise. But in the meantime, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.